The cafe was buzzing with morning energy, the aroma of fresh coffee wrapping around every table. But for Mia, the deaf woman standing at the counter, the cheerful chatter was just noise she couldn't hear. She tapped the menu with her finger, brow furrowed, trying to signal her order. The barista, busy with a growing line, glanced at her impatiently. Words failed her, gestures fell short, and frustration prickled her skin. Mia was used to the awkwardness, the subtle glances of impatience from strangers. Ordering coffee shouldn't feel like scaling a mountain, yet here she was, wishing for invisibility. She sighed and stepped back, resigning herself to another small defeat. Then, from behind her, a warm voice, or rather, a comforting presence, spoke in silence. A single dad, holding a toddler in one arm and a notebook in the other, caught her struggle. Instead of trying to guess her words or make her feel embarrassed, he scribbled a note and handed it to her. "Coffee? I've got you," it read, accompanied by a little smiley face. Mia blinked, stunned. The simple act felt monumental. For the first time that morning, her anxiety melted into a soft, genuine smile. She nodded her thanks, fingers trembling slightly, and scribbled her order back. The man's toddler giggled, pointing at the note, and Mia felt an unexpected warmth spread through her chest. It was such a small gesture, yet it carried more kindness than the bustling cafe had seen all day. And in that moment, she realized, sometimes, humanity speaks louder than words. Mia watched as the man balanced his toddler on his hip while chatting quietly with the barista. She couldn't hear the words, but the gentle gestures, the patient smiles, told her everything she needed to know. When her coffee arrived, he gave her a small nod, as if saying, "See? It's simple." Curiosity nudged her forward. She gestured a thank you, and he smiled again, this time with a warmth that made her chest feel lighter. Something about him, the quiet strength, the effortless kindness, made her forget the embarrassment she usually carried when ordering. As she sipped her coffee, she noticed him trying to calm his little one, who was squirming and reaching for the sugar packets. With a small laugh, he handed the toddler a packet, then leaned down to scribble something quickly on a napkin. He handed it to Mia without a word. "Life can be messy, but smiles are free. Keep yours." Her eyes welled up. In a world that often moved too fast, too harsh, too loud, this tiny gesture felt like a lifeline. She realized that kindness didn't have to be loud or performative, it could be as simple as a note, a smile, a small act that said, "I see you. You matter." For the first time that week, Mia didn't feel invisible. The coffee she held was warm, yes, but the feeling in her chest was warmer. She watched him leave, holding his child's hand, and wondered how someone so ordinary could make an extraordinary impact. She realized that human connection didn't require shared language, only empathy. And that sometimes, the smallest gestures left the deepest marks. Mia's morning struggle had turned into a moment she would carry with her, a reminder that even in everyday life, kindness had the power to change everything. The next day, Mia returned to the same cafe, hoping to see the man again. She clutched her notebook, fingers hovering over a page as she rehearsed the words she wanted to write. The cafe was just as busy, just as noisy, but something about yesterday's encounter lingered in her mind like a soft melody. She spotted him immediately, seated in the corner with his toddler on his lap. Summoning courage, she approached, notebook in hand. Before she could speak, he waved, his eyes lighting up with recognition. The toddler giggled, reaching for her hand, and for a moment, the world felt like it had slowed down. Mia scribbled quickly, "Thank you. You made my day yesterday. You don't know how much it meant." He read it carefully, then smiled, pulling a folded note from his pocket. Her eyes widened as she unfolded it. "I noticed your artwork in your notebook yesterday. You have talent, don't hide it. Share your light with the world." Mia felt a lump in her throat. No one had ever noticed her art, or her efforts, before. It was as if someone had peeked inside her soul and encouraged it to bloom. Tears blurred her vision, but a genuine, uncontainable smile spread across her face. The man shrugged modestly, saying nothing, but the kindness in his eyes spoke volumes. In that ordinary café, two lives had intersected in an extraordinary way. Mia realized then that kindness wasn't just about helping someone in the moment, it could spark courage, hope, and even dreams. And in the simple act of noticing her, he had reminded her of her own worth. As she walked out, notebook clutched to her chest, she knew one thing for certain: sometimes, a single person's gesture could light up an entire world. Days passed, but Mia couldn't stop thinking about that moment in the café. Every time she opened her notebook, the note he had given her glowed in her mind like a quiet spark. It wasn't just encouragement, it was a reminder that someone believed in her, really saw her. Determined, she began sketching again, pouring her heart into every line and shade. Her art, once hidden in the margins of her notebook, slowly transformed into small, vivid pieces she could share. She posted one online, unsure if anyone would notice, but she did it anyway, motivated by the gentle nudge of that stranger's kindness. Weeks later, she returned to the café with a small portfolio in hand. The man was there again, toddler in tow, sipping his usual coffee. Gathering courage, she approached and placed the portfolio on the table. Without a word, she opened it to show her sketches. His eyes widened, and for the first time, Mia saw genuine surprise. "These are incredible," he wrote on a note, tapping one of the pages. "You really have a gift." Mia's chest swelled. A wave of emotion, gratitude, pride, and relief, washed over her. She realized something powerful. One act of selfless kindness had ignited a chain reaction, leading her to rediscover her own voice. The man smiled at her, the toddler laughing beside him, and Mia understood that human connection wasn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, it was quiet, patient, and enduring. Walking out of the café that day, coffee in hand and her sketches carefully tucked away, Mia carried more than just warmth. She carried hope, a reminder that one small gesture could change someone's life forever. Mia couldn't stop smiling that morning. Her coffee sat steaming on the table, but her thoughts were elsewhere, on the quiet man who had seen her, the simple note that had changed everything. She realized that life's most profound moments often came wrapped in the smallest gestures. As she sketched in her notebook, the toddler toddled over and pointed at her drawings. Mia laughed softly, reaching out to ruffle his hair. The man watched, smiling, and for a moment, the café felt like a safe little world, removed from the rush and noise outside. Then he scribbled a note and handed it to her. "Keep smiling. The world needs your light." Mia's heart swelled. She had spent years feeling invisible, struggling to communicate, to be seen and understood. Yet in this ordinary café, through an ordinary act, she had discovered something extraordinary, that empathy and kindness could bridge any gap, even silence. Inspired, she stood and looked around the café, noticing the people rushing, the baristas juggling orders, the tired smiles of strangers. She realized that everyone had their own struggles, their own small battles. And she understood that even a single act, a smile, a note, a patient gesture, could make someone's day, maybe even change their life. Mia walked out into the sunlight, notebook in hand, her smile radiant. She knew she would never forget that morning, that encounter, that single spark of humanity that had lit up her life. And she vowed to carry it forward, to let her own kindness ripple into the world. In the end, it wasn't just about coffee, or notes, or even recognition. It was about connection. About seeing each other. About reminding one another that small acts of compassion have the power to transform hearts. And sometimes, all it takes is one person to light up someone else's world, and in doing so, brighten their own.